Hello, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sophia with Garden State Film Festival, and we are talking about the animated short Little Hurts. Here with me is Deborah Solomon. She is the director, writer, producer, animator, the voice in the film. She did everything. Deborah, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So, before we get started, can you tell everybody a little bit about Little Hurts?
Little Hearts. It basically the genesis of this film was a visit to the dry cleaner where I wanted to have my pants let out for an event. And the woman, the dry cleaner, looked at me and said, "Why not lose weight and save money? Just go to the gym and stay there." And that was the beginning of the film. And I went home and I was so angry. I was like, does she tell everybody who goes there to get something let out to go on a diet? And it basically triggered in me, which is this little hurt, triggered basically a family history. And what I did in the film was trace it back through my family and obsession to like diet and lose weight and make part of yourself disappear.
Yes. Wow. So that actually happened to you, that a
Yes.
woman at the
Yeah.
laundromat said that.
Yes. Yeah.
I am appalled. Well, shout out to her because you took a situation that is unfair and should not be and made something really creative at it. So at least, shout out to you and her, I guess, for sparking some creativity in you.
So I think most of my work is triggered by an event in my
Mhm.
life, but then it is not. Then I take it to places that are basically heightened fiction, one
Right.
could say.
And I love that. I love that. So, would you say that that was the inspiration for this film, or was this story kind of always inside of you and that incident just brought it to light?
Um, that's interesting that you should say that. Because there are parts of the film that were always with me, like that. The way my dad used to call my grandparents the dieting Gilmans. I always thought it had the ring of the beginning, the entrance of a circus act. The dieting Gilmans. And
Mhm.
so I basically, all of these memories, I think, coalesced around this event. So that's, you're the first
Wow.
person to say that. And
Oh, I'm honored to
right
ask
on.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone, I mean, I relate to it so much. I don't come from the same background as you, but I know like in the African background, as soon as I get fat, my grandma will be like, "You look good, you looking fat," because it's a good thing for us to look fat in the African culture. So everyone kind of has these things that they've grown up with. And I think this film just like brings it all back. And I really love it. So I want to talk to you. How did you write it? Like, did it all come to you in one night? There's music in it. How did it all come to you?
Actually, around the time I was working on the film, I was taking uke lessons with this a wonderful guy in Brooklyn called Ukulele Jake. I'm giving him a shout out. And and he's a wonderful teacher, and I was writing songs. And so initially I wrote the song, Little Hearts. And then I work with this wonderful musician producer, and I brought a couple of songs to him that I was working on. And he said to me, "Well, usually when you're writing songs, you have a story woven into them." And I went back and I wrote the story behind the event. Even though first I wrote the song, I then went and wrote the piece about what happened during the weeks that followed my visit to the dry cleaner.
Wow, that is so interesting. So song first and then all that background and juiciness after.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is amazing. Shout out to Ukulele Joe, you said?
Ukulele Jake. He's a
Ukulele Jake, what a
he's a
name.
he's a fabulous uke teacher and
That
so
is
fun.
I'm trying to learn ukulele, so I might hit up Ukulele Jake one
Yeah,
day.
yeah. Good idea.
So I want to talk about the animation style in this film because it's so unique and beautiful. And I saw on your bio it reminded me of something. And then I read on your bio that you were part of creating Lizzie McGuire.
Yes.
The style reminded me of Lizzie McGuire a bit. So how did you come up with this animation style we see in the film?
I went to art school a gazillion years ago, and I have been drawing ever since. And so when I'm drawing, like when I'm writing, I'm trying to just pare things down to the truth. And so my drawing style really doesn't change very much from film to film. Um, I do occasionally uh, work on characters to try to get them more cohesive so that they're easier for the people who paint to paint the character. But basically, the drawing style is what has evolved since I graduated Pratt.
You have your own authentic, unique style that stays true to you film to film,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
That's amazing. So you
I've
talked about
tried to make it better.
no, it looks great. I'm sure it just evolves and gets better naturally while still being authentic to your style. And that's
Yeah.
what the awesome thing about film is. Everyone has their own unique style, these filmmakers. So how long does it take to make something like Little Hurts?
Um, well, the problem was that the pandemic happened. Um, Basically, I think it was, to be perfectly honest, about 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is that
So, yeah.
normal for animation and that was because of the pandemic? Because I know animated films do take a while.
Yeah.
So much
Well,
goes
if
into
you're
it.
animating them yourself and working on other jobs in the
Right.
meantime, um, so basically, it's a 10-minute film, and it was slowed down by the pandemic
Mm.
because when the pandemic started, I was living alone in the East Village, and I started making shorts about the pandemic. The first one was how to make a mask. And those are up on my website, deborahsolomon.com,
Very
or on my
cool.
Vimeo channel. Anyways, basically, I started making shorts about the pandemic because uh, I it just was. I felt like what was happening was so insane. So, like
It was
everyone,
a film story itself.
yes,
It really was.
exactly. Like when my neighbor across the hall was still having ladies of the evening come and visit him.
Mhm.
And it was just so,
Yeah.
one day I opened my door. Well, actually, no, I was in the front hall when the woman came in her sneakers, and then she put on her fuck me pumps, and
Okay.
changed her skirt in front of the elevator, and like sort of transformed herself.
Yeah.
And then we took the elevator up, and then I she went into my neighbor's house, and I'm like, are they keeping social distance?
Definitely not, right? Not with those fuck me pumps, but I'm also happy you talked about them and, bomb the F word on us because this
Oh, I'm
film is
sorry.
for no, it's fine, but this film's for adults.
Yes.
It definitely has
It is for adults, and yet I don't really think there's anything in it that the kids don't get. And what they don't get,
yeah.
they find something to enjoy. I remember showing an early film of mine, Everybody's Pregnant, to a friend whose 5 year old was sitting there. And like weeks later, she wrote to me and said, "Do you know that Karen is singing Everybody's Pregnant? Like when she gets up in the morning, everybody's
Yeah.
pregnant." Anyways,
Wow.
so
It is a catchy song. I can see kids singing it, but as
yeah,
long
yeah.
as their parents are okay with hearing a few curse words,
Right,
exactly,
right,
everyone can
right,
watch
right.
and enjoy the film. So
Yeah.
do most of your films involve music?
They they have. Um I have um the first film I worked on, I basically wrote the whole thing out and I showed it to a friend who like said, "Are you making a science special?" And that was Everybody's Pregnant, which actually was the second film. Um, and I then, to basically edit what I had down, um, to edit it, I wrote the song and pared down the visuals to work with the song. It's been my way to work since I started making films.
Oh, love it. And you mentioned earlier in the interview how most of your films are born off of like triggers or things that happen to you personally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what attracts you to making films? Is it usually born after true like heightened fiction? That's the word you used, right?
Yeah. I think um I always wanted to tell stories, and um I never felt that just writing was really relayed what I wanted to. And I think because when I was on, sorry about that, if I disappeared, I got a call.
Okay, I'm glad we still got you.
Sorry. Um, so basically, I wanted to go on the stage when I was a kid, and yet when going on the stage, I felt like it was like incredibly frightening. So going on the stage behind a piece of paper is how I do my work. Is how I get the feeling across by basically making it perfect and then putting it out there.
Mm, I love that, Deborah. So, what are you hoping audiences get out of watching Little Hurts? Like, what's the message you would say of the film?
Um, Actually, it was really. I just want to really interesting. A, a friend recently said to me that she was working on some stuff in therapy, and then she said, and I said, "Oh, well, that's pretty interesting." And then she said, I didn't really ask her what she was working on, but somehow, but what we got around to was she said that she was basically had found out that her life had been ruled by little hurts. And I think, in a way, it is talking about the awareness of your own triggers, the awareness of that things that were done in your family aren't necessarily the way you need to do things in the future. That is, I guess, if there's like a rainbow behind this film, that is it.
I love that so much. And I love the fact that you kind of gave a new, less intimidating term to like triggers or, like subconscious fears. It's just little hurts.
Right.
I
And
love
that,
that.
and those are those are the things that really trip people up. I mean,
Yeah.
the other word that's very popular is diss. I mean, it's like you dissed
Mhm.
me, and instead of pulling out your, gun or whatever, you basically turn around and look at why did this hurt me so much?
Mhm.
Like
Absolutely.
that is inside you, and that is where you can heal.
Well, I think that's a wonderful place to wrap up this interview. It has been such a pleasure talking to you, Deborah. Will you be at the Garden State Film Festival to
Yes, I
see Little
will.
Heart Screen?
Yes, I will.
Amazing. Amazing. So let me tell everyone how they can watch Little Hurts and meet Deborah. It will be playing at the Berkeley Hotel in the Continental Room in the film block 2:45 to 4:45 p.m. Sunday, March 26th. So definitely come check it out. Meet this wonderfully talented creative. And Deborah, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us today.
Sophia, thank you for a very insightful interview. You're fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Okay, take
appreciate that.
care.
It's been a
Okay,
pleasure meeting you. I'll see you at
okay.
the film festival.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.